Think about the last time you saw a big win celebrated on the casino floor. The lights, the sounds, the crowd. That moment is no accident. It's a carefully orchestrated event. Casinos place a small number of higher-paying machines in highly visible areas to create social proof and excitement. I'll show you how to distinguish these rare opportunities from the much larger number of tightly configured machines designed to grind down your bankroll. You find your favorite game, Buffalo, and see an open machine right next to another Buffalo. They look identical, but one is designed to drain your wallet 20% faster than the other. This is the core deception. Two machines with the same name and artwork can have completely different mathematical cores. The casino intentionally purchases multiple versions of the same game from manufacturers, each with a different programmed RTP. Think of it like buying two cars that look exactly the same on the outside. One has a high-performance engine built for speed and endurance. The other has a basic, inefficient engine that burns fuel quickly. You can't tell the difference just by looking at them in the showroom. This is the reality on the casino floor. Slot manufacturers produce game skins with RTPs that can range from 88% to over 98%. The casino chooses which version to deploy on the floor. They make this decision based on profit, not your enjoyment. The consequence is absolute. There is no legal requirement to label the RTP on the machine's exterior. The casino never has to tell you which version you're playing. You are making a choice based on pure aesthetics, while the house knows the exact mathematical advantage it holds on each individual unit. This lack of transparency is a fundamental part of their business model. It turns your selection process into a gamble before you even place a bet. So how can you possibly know which machine is which? You can't rely on the artwork or the game's title screen. The information is hidden by design. The difference, however, is detectable. It requires a simple observational test that we will get to. But first, you need to understand that machine selection is intrinsically linked to physical location. The casino doesn't place these different versions randomly. The floor is a chessboard, and your first move is recognizing that the pieces are not what they seem. Where you find a machine is the first major clue to its programmed behavior. The identical trap is set before you even sit down. The casino floor isn't a random collection of machines. It's a meticulously designed battlefield, and you're walking right into the kill zones. Machine placement is a strategic decision, never an accident. The floor is divided into zones with specific purposes, each engineered to maximize the house's take from different types of players. High traffic areas are your first and most dangerous trap. The slots near entrances, bars, and buffet lines are often populated with the tightest RTP versions the casino owns. The reasoning is cold and calculated. These areas get massive, impulsive foot traffic. People waiting for a show, grabbing a drink, or heading to dinner play on a whim. They are not there for a long session. The casino doesn't need to offer good odds to attract this action. The volume of casual players guarantees profit. Ex-employees confirm this placement is based entirely on traffic patterns and player psychology. It is a system designed to harvest the most money from the least engaged visitors. Now, contrast these areas with the quieter, less desirable parts of the casino. Look at the machines against the back walls or tucked near service exits. These zones see less foot traffic. The players here are often more dedicated, settling in for longer sessions. This is where the casino's strategy shifts from harvesting impulse plays to retaining a captive audience. To keep these players seated and betting longer, the house is almost forced to use a different tactic. The machines in these quieter grind zones are more likely to be configured with a higher RTP. The goal is not a quick kill, but a sustained engagement, ensuring the player feels enough intermittent reward to continue feeding the machine. This creates a clear map of the casino's priorities. The flashy, central areas are for show and quick profit. The peripheral, quieter zones are for player retention. But to truly understand why the casino would ever place a better machine anywhere, you need to see their primary weapon in action. The entire layout is built to weaponize one psychological trigger above all others: social proof. They make winning a public spectacle to mask the truth of the floor's design. That huge jackpot when you saw by the high-limit slots wasn't luck. It was a commercial, and you were the target audience. Casinos weaponize celebration through a psychological trigger known as social proof. They deliberately seed a small number of higher-paying machines in highly visible locations to create the illusion of frequent, attainable winning. The entire spectacle is engineered to manipulate your perception of risk and reward. Think of it like a retail store placing a handful of deeply discounted items right at the entrance. The goal is to draw you in with the promise of value, creating a positive impression that makes you more receptive to the full-priced merchandise throughout the rest of the store. The casino operates on the same principle. Ex-employees confirm these social proof machines are strategically placed near cashier cages, high-limit areas, and main aisles where the sight and sound of a win will impact the maximum number of people. The ringing bells and flashing lights are not random. They are a form of psychological advertising. The cruel irony lies in the machine's immediate future. The machine that just paid a massive jackpot might be dialed back to a much tighter setting for the next player. The casino capitalizes on the excitement generated by the win while simultaneously resetting its profit margin. The initial payout is an investment in baiting the hook, knowing that the crowd drawn by the celebration will now play a version of the game with a significantly lower RTP. Your emotional response to the celebration is the very thing they are monetizing. This leads to the critical question: if these visibly loose machines are merely bait, where should you actually be playing? The answer lies in the one location where the casino's business model shifts from harvesting impulse plays to retaining dedicated players. The area where they are somewhat forced to maintain consistently better odds is the zone dedicated to players who are there for the long haul. These are the quieter, less glamorous parts of the floor, where the goal is to keep a player seated and betting for an extended session. To understand how to identify these areas, you need a simple, actionable strategy before you ever insert a dollar. The floor itself will reveal its secrets if you know how to look. You don't need insider information, you just need to watch. The floor will tell you everything if you know what to look for. Most players make the critical mistake of sitting down at the first open machine they see. They see a flashy game in a prime spot and commit their entire bankroll without a second thought. This is the exact behavior the casino's floor plan is designed to trigger. You are playing directly into their hands before you even press the spin button. Your first move is to become an observer, not a participant. This is the 10-minute scout. Before you spend a single dollar, walk the entire floor once. Do not sit down. Your goal is to observe two distinct environments. First, identify the bustling areas. These are the zones we already identified, near entrances, bars, and major walkways. Note the machine types and the player demographics. You will likely see a lot of tourists, people holding drinks, and individuals making quick, impulsive plays. The energy is chaotic and transient. Second, identify the dead zones. Find the quiet corners, the banks of machines against the back walls, the areas near service exits or restrooms. These are your potential grind zones. Here, you need to look for different patterns. Look for players who appear settled in. They might have a drink holder, a bag next to them, a deeper focus on the screen. They are not just passing through. This is a key visual cue. Players in these zones often exhibit behaviors indicative of a longer-term session, like making smaller, more frequent bets. They are not chasing a massive jackpot, they are grinding out a session. This observational period allows you to form a hypothesis. Based on the casino's need to retain players in these quieter areas, you can theorize that the machines there might be configured with a better RTP to encourage extended play. The scout turns a blind gamble into an informed test. It reveals the battlefield's layout, showing you where the traps are set and where the potential opportunities might lie. But observation alone is not confirmation. The scout provides the map. The final step requires a small, controlled engagement to confirm your suspicions. You need to move from hypothesis to data. The next step is a hands-on test that the casino never expects a prepared player to run. You are about to test two identical machines against each other. Here's the moment of truth. You've found two identical machines in different parts of the floor. Now you run the test that casinos don't want you to know about. You are going to use a small, predetermined amount of money to test these two seemingly identical games. This is not about winning a jackpot during the test. It is about gathering data. You have to treat this initial investment as a fee for critical intelligence. You must acknowledge that short-term results can be misleading. Slot machines operate on volatility. A tight machine can have a lucky streak, and a loose machine can go cold for dozens of spins. You are not looking for a single big win. You are looking for patterns of behavior that reveal the underlying mathematical engine. The goal is to see which machine feels more responsive over a controlled sample size. The specific method is simple. Allocate a fixed, small amount for this test. let's say $20. Go to the first machine, the one in the high traffic area you identified during your scout. Set a bet size, like $1 per spin. Play exactly 20 spins. Do not chase bonuses or get drawn into a longer session. Your only job is to observe. Note the frequency of small hits, even those that just return your bet amount. Pay attention to the feel of the game. How quickly does your $20 bankroll deplete? Is it a steady decline? Or does it feel like it's disappearing in chunks with no return? Now, walk to the second machine in the quieter zone you hypothesized might be better. Reset your mental clock. Play another 20 spins at the same bet size. Again, ignore the bonus rounds and focus on the base game. Compare the experience. Does this machine seem to return small amounts more frequently? Does your $20 last longer? While not a guarantee, a machine that feels more responsive with consistent, smaller returns often indicates a higher base RTP. This is by design. Games with better odds are programmed to create a longer, more engaging session by providing a steadier drip of minor rewards. This keeps a player invested. Contrast this with the tight machine. It may feel unresponsive. Your bankroll on the tight machine might vanish rapidly over 20 spins without any noticeable minor wins. It will feel like you are feeding money into a black hole. The game will seem to ignore your bets for long stretches. This pattern of rapid depletion with little to no feedback is a strong indicator of a lower RTP setting. The machine is designed for a quick harvest, not player retention. This side-by-side test, combined with the intelligence from your 10-minute scout, dramatically increases your odds of selecting a better machine. It transforms your decision from a blind guess into an empirical choice. This approach removes the guesswork and emotion, allowing you to make a data-driven decision on where to commit your main bankroll. You are no longer relying on luck or the casino's deceptive cues. You have conducted a field experiment, but there is one final, unbreakable rule that governs where the casino is forced to place the most consistent machines, a rule rooted in their core business model of player retention. There is a single, unbreakable rule that forces the casino's hand. It's the reason you'll find the truly consistent payers hidden in plain sight. This rule transcends individual sessions and immediate profit. The casino's ultimate goal is player retention. They are playing a much longer game than you are. Your entire weekend bankroll might be a rounding error compared to the lifetime value they assign to a dedicated player. This long-term perspective is what creates a sliver of opportunity for you. They harvest casual players at the entrances and main aisles. Those areas are designed for quick takes from impulse players, but the casino dedicates specific areas to keeping valuable, long-term players on the floor. These are the serious players who visit regularly and maintain loyalty cards. You will find these machines often clustered near high-limit rooms or in dedicated slots areas tucked away from the main walkways. These are the true grind zones for players the casino cannot afford to alienate with relentlessly tight odds. The machines here look the same as everywhere else, but their programmed behavior is fundamentally different. Casinos understand a critical piece of player psychology. A player who feels they have a fighting chance will play longer. This is the research-backed insight that works in your favor. Machines in these retention-focused zones are far more likely to be configured with a higher RTP, specifically to encourage that extended play. The house is willing to sacrifice a few percentage points of immediate profit margin to ensure a player leaves feeling satisfied enough to return next week. This isn't generosity. It's a calculated investment in future revenue. They are banking on the fact that even a better machine will pay them over time, and a happy player is a returning player. The strategic implication for you is now crystal clear. Your goal is to find the machine in the retention zone, not the distraction zone. The flashy, celebratory machine by the bar is a trap designed for a quick harvest. The identical-looking machine in the quiet corner against the back wall is the one programmed for engagement. The casino is forced into this dichotomy by its own business model. They must provide a more favorable experience in areas where their profitability depends on player satisfaction over the long term. This is the one rule they cannot break. It creates a predictable pattern on the floor that you can learn to read. You now possess the map, the test, and the underlying reason it all works. This knowledge fundamentally changes your position from being the prey to becoming the hunter. You walk onto the floor, understanding the invisible economic forces that dictate every machine's behavior. You are no longer the prey. You walk onto the casino floor with a plan, seeing the invisible dials and understanding the game being played on a level most people ignore. You have transformed from a passive gambler into an informed strategist. The casino's design, which once worked against you, now provides the information you need to make smarter decisions. Without this knowledge, you are almost guaranteed to play the worst performing machines by default. The odds are stacked to make you fail before you even press the spin button. Your entire approach is now defined by a clear, actionable process. It begins with the 10-minute scout. You no longer rush to the first available seat. You survey the entire floor first, identifying the high-traffic social proof zones designed for quick profit and contrasting them with the quieter grind zones intended for player retention. This initial observation is your intelligence gathering phase. It allows you to form a hypothesis about where the casino might be forced to deploy machines with a more favorable RTP to keep dedicated players engaged for longer sessions. The next step is the side-by-side test. Once you've identified candidate machines in different zones, you deploy a small, controlled amount of capital for field testing. You run 20 or 30 spins on each machine with the same bet size, focusing not on hitting a bonus, but on observing the frequency of small returns and the rate of bankroll depletion. You are gathering empirical data on machine behavior. This test removes emotion and impulse from the equation, replacing blind luck with a methodical comparison. You are comparing responsiveness, not just celebrating random outcomes. This approach does not guarantee a win. The house edge is a mathematical certainty that always remains. No amount of strategy can eliminate the casino's built-in advantage. However, this method shifts the odds meaningfully in your favor for the session. You are no longer donating your money to the machines with the absolute lowest RTPs positioned in the most deceptive locations. You are actively selecting a better battlefield, one where the game's parameters are slightly more aligned with a sustained, engaging experience rather than a rapid harvest. The most profound change is psychological. You are no longer making selections based on luck and impulse, swayed by flashing lights and manufactured celebrations. You are making decisions based on evidence and a strategic understanding of the casino's operational model. You understand that the house uses celebration as a weapon and identical appearances as a trap. Your primary advantage is now information. You possess the foundational knowledge to approach slot play not as a pure game of chance, but as a game of information and strategic selection. The next time you hear the reels spin, you'll perceive the underlying mechanics. The victory is in the approach itself. The next time you hear slot reels spin, you know the truth. The game isn't fixed by a rigged wheel, it's fixed by invisible settings and strategic placement. The house edge is a mathematical certainty, but you now have a map to navigate around its sharpest corners. You understand the identical machine trap, the chessboard floor layout, and the weaponization of celebration. Your bankroll and your experience are no longer left to chance alone. Drop a comment below telling me which of these secrets surprised you the most. I read every single one. Stay sharp out there.